Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, everybody.
So we are back doing some more things with you guys.
Some more fun things, hopefully. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and subscribe on Spotify. You can catch up and listen there on the go instead of watching.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Yeah, welcome to Down by the Stream. We are your awesome hosts. I'm Ramiro.
And I'm Chelsea. And I'm just getting ready so I can read the comments from back here.
Hello, future mother-in-law.
Hi, Mom.
So we got a bit of a jam-packed episode today. It's mainly kind of focusing on music and concerts and stuff. And another little the conspiracy time. I wanted to call it Conspiracy Roundtable.
But
when you only use the first letters, what does it spell out? CRT.
yeah.
Yeah, that's too much of a very it's a very sensitive subject to a lot of people out there, so didn't want to call it that. So I want to come up with a better name other than that.
Okay. We'll get there. We'll think about it.
Oh, and hello, future aunt-in-law. Is it aunt-in-law?
I
Is
suppose. Yeah.
Aunt? Yeah. I think that's right, because she's your
Yeah.
aunt, so it'd be aunt-in-law. I'm pretty sure that's
I
right.
think that's how that works. I don't know. Family trees.
But conspiracy corner. There we go.
Conspiracy corner works.
I like
how about that.
I like.
Yeah,
the
we're going to talk
conspiracy
about that
corner.
later. Okay. Stick
Um,
around for that.
Yeah, and it's about a documentary we saw earlier today, because I wanted to do another conspiracy thing, and I couldn't think of anything that wasn't too edgy, and that documentary actually kind of sparked some stuff. So, but we'll get to that.
I wasn't even sure if you liked it and if you were watching it when I turned it on.
Oh no, I was totally watching it.
I wish I would have paid a little bit more attention, but.
So to start off, on Wednesday, Wednesday or Thursday, I was able to get us tickets to go see Logic here at in San Diego.
Yeah.
Down at Petco, and so pretty excited about that. I've been wanting to see him for a really long time.
Was it Logic with Juicy J or something?
Yeah.
Should be
And
fun.
what's crazy is when I really started getting into his music, he stopped touring and he stopped doing music just in general. So it was really weird. I was like, well, crap, now I'm not going to see him, which was I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. But then it kind of came up to, then he started doing music again. And then I was like, okay, it was going to tour. And then he's doing small venues this year. So he's not looking to do big places.
Isn't it at Petco?
It's not Petco, it's Gallagher Square. So it's the smaller stage that we went to go see.
Like when we saw Jimmy Eat World? Okay. Okay.
So.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Actually. It's way cooler.
So in my head, I'm like, okay, sweet. We're gonna go find. We're gonna try and find. I'm gonna try and get some tickets, and not too bad. And I figured, it's worth spending a little extra money to just go and see him, because it's
That's someone we really like too. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw some VIP stuff, and I was like, well, let me see what they got. Let me see what's available. And it went from like $130 to $1,200 a ticket. Right.
And that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Unless $1,200 is I get to meet Logic for longer than 2 seconds. No.
Yeah. I don't think I would do that.
I mean, I've done it
maybe
with other
for
artists.
$300.
Yeah, I've done it with other artists for $300.
Then that would be, I would say, okay, that's worth
Even
it.
I think with the Spill Canvas, I mean, they're not as on Logic's level, I guess. But yeah, it's only a couple $100 to do their VIP stuff. But
Yeah. But they were like $55. But the one thing, and I really wanted to kind of jump into, was just overall Live Nation ticket sales. Now, this has been a huge topic going, that's been going on for years. Ever since they bought Ticketmaster, it just became, tickets are almost an arm and a leg to be able to find anything. I think in some instances, it's like almost as expensive as just getting gas. Like you almost have to sell your firstborn to go see some of your favorite
And
artists.
that's not just the ticket price. Like the fees that get added to the ticket price, I feel like are now exceeding the ticket price.
Yeah.
It's that's ridiculous.
So the tickets were, I'll round up, it was like $56 a ticket, right? Well, after the fees, which are the convenience fees and all the other stuff they throw on top of there, it came out to $160.
What happened to when they used to just mail the tickets, or I just pick them up at the booth? What convenience are you giving me by giving me a digital ticket, which should be easier than all the other old avenues?
And
I don't get it.
I don't understand that either. But you can't. So technically, their whole convenience, and if I remember this correctly, is the ability to they have the tickets readily available. They reserve your seat. Then they don't have to print mass tickets, and then
which saves them money.
Then it gives, and it covers essentially the units for them to scan the tickets in. Essentially, it's like a whole.
Are they getting new
laundry
units
list.
every year?
I don't think so, but I mean, coming from a sales side, I know why that fee is there. I understand, I get it. But
then just raise the ticket prices so it's less frustrating to people.
Well, yes and no.
The artist barely gets any money from that shit anyways. That's why it's so annoying.
Yes. The only reason why they don't put it within the ticket is because they don't have to give that convenience fee to the artist.
They're not going to anyways. What did Logic make? $2 off of our ticket?
Well, overall, it's the ticket fee, and then it's their fees. So all other fees go straight to them.
Yeah.
Whether it's let's say they're only getting 2% or 3% of it. Well, that 3% is still money that they're making off of hundreds of people.
Yeah.
So it's all cricket. Right?
I just don't like it.
But I'm hoping
they wouldn't even be selling those tickets without that artist, so they should be giving an artist just a little cut of that too.
Well, they're the only ones that they can go through for the most part.
Which is not fair either. It's this huge monopoly on ticket sales.
Yeah. But the good thing though is that Congress is working on trying to remove that fee. Now, there's a bunch of stuff that they're working on. There's that one, but there's also another fee that's called the junk fee or something like that companies are throwing on randomly onto bills that are $3-4, and they're trying to ban that.
It just says
in general.
It just says fee, and then the fee, and then the extra fee for the fee.
Yeah,
just a long laundry list of fees on all your bills.
So they're working to do that, to try and get rid of that. Now, what's crazy is that who was it? Was it Pearl Jam? No, it wasn't Pearl Jam. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was Pearl Jam. They're the first ones who were protesting against Live Nation and Ticketmaster. And what's crazy is that they have such a huge monopoly against venues, against essentially any place that they banned them from playing, and they could not play any live shows anywhere.
That's so crazy. Because
they had such a high. They essentially owned most large venues.
Right.
But the good thing though is it took the Swifties to get Congress to,
yeah, I know.
pull
Don't
their
mess
head
with
out
them.
of their rear end.
Don't mess with them.
And they were able to actually start doing something about it.
Yeah.
That being said, it was really cringy how they were talking about it because they were using a bunch of Taylor Swift lyrics, but that's also
I
Congress.
thought that was hilarious. So,
but on that front though, it's really awesome to see that they're doing that. And
yeah, they're
actually
trying
to. I think they're trying to split the companies. So Ticketmaster has to be its own entity outside of Live Nation.
Yeah.
Or create or allow other ticket companies to
exist.
and be a part of that.
And then allow the venues to not have those contracts with those venues, so that way they're not exclusively going through Live Nation.
Yeah.
But they can go through other companies. It would be up to the artist of who they want to distribute their tickets through.
Exactly. Now, don't get confused with like StubHub and GeekSeek and all that. Those aren't ticket retailers.
GeekSeat. SeatGeek.
What did I say? GeekSeat?
Yeah. I mean,
thought I
that's
said
it's
SeatGeek.
no, you said GeekSeat, but it's kind of funner to say that way.
Oh. But those are ticket reselling avenues. So
Yeah.
it's not an actual ticket. You're essentially buying it off of somebody.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of artists that are starting to work on doing a bunch of stuff. So I can't remember if it was like Red Hot Chili Peppers or something like that. What they are doing is they are banning ticket transfers. So when you buy your ticket, you can't transfer it. So if a bunch of bots buy a bunch of tickets, they can't transfer them.
Yeah.
The only way that they can be transferred is if they sell it at the exact price that they bought it at.
That's cool.
So that's been a huge thing.
Yeah.
And then,
so scalping can't happen, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of it was The Cure. The Cure, what they're doing The Cure's doing that. Sorry. The Cure is doing that. There is another there's been like comedians and a bunch of other like
you're
smaller
naming these
bands
that I didn't realize like still toured.
Well, the Cure was a huge random one from left field.
I knew Red Hot Chili Peppers are still touring because they were just in San Diego, but like Pearl Jam and The Cure, what?
Well,
I mean, that's
Pearl
cool.
Jam, I don't know, but The Cure, yeah, they just announced a tour. They're coming back.
How interesting.
Depeche Mode is doing another tour.
I did hear about
without
Depeche
their
Mode.
drummer. But a lot of these bands are either doing, if they're able to play small venues, they're not going through main avenues. They're going through their website.
Right.
And then Foo Fighters just announced too, they're headlining a slew of different like festivals.
Oh my gosh.
They are doing the exact same thing where they are banning ticket transfers in general. You're like so let's say you bought it and you can't go, you're out that money.
Wow.
Which sucks for the people who genuinely want to go and then they can't go and they're like, well, I just spent $400 and I can't go. I'm out $400. But it's like, it sucks, but there has to be a point of, I guess, some sacrifice to fix this problem.
Yeah, it's just gone too far. And what else can we do?
Yeah.
To stop it from happening?
Yeah.
People will then hesitate to buy the tickets if they're not sure if they can go, and then maybe they will still be available at a lower price closer to the concert point rather than selling out within 30 seconds. And then the only way to get a ticket is to buy it for 3 times as much.
Yeah.
So ideally, it just makes you double think, I'll find out later if I can go. And then hopefully they're not sold out the same. I mean, with certain bands, I'm sure the Foo Fighters, that's going to be hard, but just in general, but it will hopefully stop that. These companies that run these bots that make that happen. Exactly.
So that's the best thing about it is that they can't. I mean, the only thing that's really going to happen is so if, let's say they buy those tickets, well, there's always a workaround, right? Like they may not be able to transfer that ticket, but how are they really going to tell who that ticket belongs to? Unless they're going to check IDs at the gate, which sometimes they don't even do that. You just scan your ticket and you walk in.
Right, but then you would have to have a physical ticket to scan. So like the bots aren't going to be able to send you a screenshot. Like say I bought tickets under my name and then something happened to me and I was like, I can't go, but you can bring John. I feel like I could just give you the screenshots on your phone and you could scan those.
Exactly.
But that would be with my name, but like that doesn't solve the problem of like the bots. Because they can't just like email you a screenshot.
Yeah, and what I was thinking
because if that was a thing, other people would be double selling tickets.
Yeah, I think the only other thing,
which I know has happened to people before, but
the only other thing would be you would essentially I mean, what I was thinking is that they're still gonna do that though. Like they're still gonna say like, hey, I have 3 tickets to the concert, I can send them to you, but they're, double what most people paid for. Like, there's always a workaround. This is just mainly keeping from.
I just wonder if there will maybe be an additional fee for Ticketmaster for it to be transferred.
I mean,
something like that.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Where it would be like an additional fee that has to be taken, like the person that bought the tickets has to pay for it or something like that.
Yeah.
It like the card that you bought the tickets with will be charged this fee for the transfer. So that way, and you can only let the tickets go for what you bought them for. And like, it's like Ticketmaster will have to have their own external payment system to see what people are doing.
I think it should be
if
on
that's
both.
even possible.
I think it should be on both parties.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like some sort of like internal payment system that keeps track of that within Ticketmaster.
So the transferor and the transferee should both have to pay a fee.
I could see that
but
too.
But split the fee. So make it like $6.
Well, the only reason I say
the
transferor rather than the transferee is because the transferors are the ones trying to make money.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, like where they're scalping the tickets.
But it's also
and that stops them from telling the person they're transferring the tickets to pay them more money, I guess.
I guess in my head, it's also a way for those who have to buy that are gonna buy it, like it tells them like, hey, or just put a limit to how many times you can transfer it.
Yeah, or just like when the other person you're transferring it to gets it like automatically tacks on a 10% fee or a 2% fee. I'm just naming random numbers. And once that's paid, then the tickets get transferred to them.
Honestly, they should just check IDs. ID the name to the ticket.
Yeah, but but that doesn't solve the issue of earlier where I would be shit out of luck if I couldn't go, but then I was the one that bought the tickets.
Unless you transfer it and you change the name. That's different though.
Right. But they're saying they're not even going to allow that transfer to happen, is how this conversation started.
Oh, yeah.
So that wouldn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's the workaround of that, I guess, is what I thought we were talking about.
No, the workaround I was thinking is that, if people wanted to...
We just had a whole conversation about two different things.
Essentially, what happened in Mexico for Taylor Swift. That's how this whole... Or not Mexico. It was somewhere. I can't remember. No, it was in Mexico.
I thought those were tickets here.
No, I mean, stuff happened here. It's when Ticketmaster crashed when they were trying to buy Taylor Swift tickets. But there was a huge mass duplicate, or they were manipulating physical tickets. And so people who bought these fake tickets went in first, and people who bought legit tickets were scanning as duplicates.
Yeah, that's been happening for years. Not on like a mass scale, like a Taylor Swift concert.
I don't think it was Taylor Swift.
But that does screw a lot of people.
I think it was a Libre 50 or something like that. But there's always going to be a way for them to figure out a different way of doing it. Whether I want to send you this screenshot, and whether it works or not, that's just.
Well, that's the only reason that would suck, is because then now you're looking at like, I bought 4 tickets and I printed them, but I printed them twice, and whoever goes in first gets them. It's a race. It's kind of fucked.
But outside of that, though, I'm just glad that they're trying to figure something out. I mean, with competition comes better pricing, better, less fees and all that stuff. So it makes it easier.
And what they'll be able to do, I mean, I guess is to be determined, but hopefully there is something that is done that makes it at least a little better.
Yeah. But one of the questions that I have is like, how much are you willing to pay to see somebody?
Depends on who.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, how much are you willing to pay somebody you've been wanting to see? Top number one person you wanted to see. How much would you be willing to pay to see him?
It depends on who, and it depends on where I'm sitting.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I know. I don't know. That's a tough call. Like, I really want to see Post Malone, and I would probably spend, I don't want to say like an uncomfortable amount of money, but
like, it's your number one, like, you've always wanted to see this person, whether they're still dead, whether they're dead or alive. let's say that everybody that you've always wanted to see is
Oh,
alive,
see,
and you
dead
wanted
or
to go see
alive,
them,
that changes
and
things.
that's the only time they're going on concert, or you
I'm
see
paying
into the future.
$1,000 to see Prince, at least $1,000
You're willing to spend
No
$1,000 to go
problems.
see Prince?
to Prince. Yeah, maybe more. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm willing to sell some feet pics for to see Prince. Yes. Posty, I'd probably spend around like $250, maybe $500 to see him.
Okay.
I'd really like to see Post Malone. Those are my top two. One of them's dead. I don't know.
So you're willing to spend like your highest one would be about $1,000 to see Prince if he was still alive.
I don't really know that there's much of a limit. It's whatever I can get approved on a credit card for is what I'm buying Prince tickets with. Like, he's like I don't know. There's no price on that for me, for him specifically.
So
And a part of me might just be saying that because I know I can never see him. So I'm like, I could be all talk right now, but I know I would probably, no questions asked, drop $1,000 to see him and potentially more.
that's interesting. I wouldn't spend more than $500 to see somebody.
Prince is the only one I would spend that much money to see.
Like, even if Tom Petty was alive, I wouldn't spend more than $500.
See, yeah, and that's it. Prince is the only one that like I would be willing to spend that much money to see.
Like, even Foo Fighters. I wouldn't spend that much money.
I've already seen them. Not that I wouldn't want to see them again, but I wouldn't be dropping that much money to see them either.
Yeah, like my top.
I
like,
would
my
I would
top
cap
ones,
at 500 for I think everybody else, but Prince I would go out of my way for.
I would. My line is $500, and that's just.
There's not one person.
I would not spend that much money to
Oh
go see
God,
a
I'm just
concert.
crazy about
Because
Prince, I guess.
The only reason why I say that is because unless I'm literally on stage with them, there's no point in spending more than that much money to get a good spot. That being said, most of the concerts that I've been to are like either GA, but you're not really sitting and enjoying the concert. You're standing and it gets wild.
Depends on who. Muse was really not wild.
Muse was great,
That was
but that was $120
wonderful
a
show.
ticket.
Yeah, and it was fantastic.
Exactly my point. Like, it was great for what the price was, but if like a general admission ticket to get like a good spot was $650, I would maybe think about it. But if it was $800 and it was their last tour and they were never gonna go again, I would rather spend the $35 to go up to the lawn than to spend the $600 or $800 up in GA.
Yeah, I get that. I get that for the majority of artists, but I'm like, Prince is the one
Yeah.
that I just always wanted to see and never got to.
Yeah.
So
Your limit. So there's no, essentially you're willing to
No
pay
limit
whatever
on
it takes to
Prince.
go and see him.
yes, wish he was alive so I could put that plan into action. But yeah, anybody else, I don't think I would spend more than 500 to see anybody else.
Okay. Yeah. I look at a ticket and I'm like, nah. Not worth it.
Yeah.
Not worth spending that money for. Because it's like, why?
Why? Have
I mean,
fun.
it's a great experience. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, but it's not. It's literally like, if I'm not meeting them, there's no point in spending that.
Yeah,
kind of money.
Logic is the only concert we have planned right now, huh?
Yeah, that's our first concert of this year. But that being said, we went
Well,
to like
as of
6
right now,
We went to 6 or 7 last year.
which for some people is not very much.
Yeah.
For us, it was.
But the amount that we went last year to what this year is like everybody's on either the East Coast only or they're on the eastern side of the world, so they're not coming through here, or they're not on tour, or they're working on new music.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what would you prefer as far as seating goes? Like general admission? Would you like to rather sit? Do lawn, VIP? Like what's the when you're going to go buy a ticket? What's the first one you click on to go see the prices on?
Usually just GA.
Yeah, same. Depends. If I've seen them, I'll go to lawn.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. If I've seen him before, I'll do lawn seats instead.
Or on
If
the
it's in
inverse of
Shula.
that, if I really like this band and I didn't really get up close and I've only gotten lawn or rear like
The opposite
see,
way. Yeah.
I'll check out GA first to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I usually try and just go GA first, and even then, like, because if you don't get there early
Yeah.
and literally bum rush the stage, you're not going to get a very good spot. You need to get stuck in the center, and then you can't go get drinks, and you can't you're literally stuck there. But which is fine.
With like the more calm bands, it doesn't suck as much. It's like when you're there with like the rowdier rock bands, like you don't really want to end up there.
I don't even think I really so.
Like when we were like Muse wasn't really that rowdy of a crowd or anything. Like
Although people did try to mosh pit, which I think was funny.
But it overall, it was like everybody was just standing there and enjoying the show.
Yeah, that was such a good concert.
It was an amazing concert, probably one of the best we've been to.
Yeah, it was very well done. It sounded amazing, and like we got the perfect view, and like it was really
great.
Good. Okay. Let me see here. What else I have? Okay, so obviously a lot of bands right now, all their tickets are insanely expensive to go and see them because it's just how the market is right now. One with Ticketmaster and all that stuff. But on the inverse of that, they don't, like you said, they don't really make a whole lot of money. They generally make a small amount off of their actual shows.
Yeah.
Where a lot of their money really comes from is their merch. I know some people who are like, oh, I never buy merch in the thing. I'll either find somebody outside of the place and pay half price, or I'll just get it off their online website or whatever. Now, I usually go for the merch that's there. Like,
yes.
I try and find something there.
Yes.
But sometimes either it is so packed and you're just like, I don't want to deal with that. Which is usually why I try and buy the merch once we get there.
Yeah.
Because then, one, they're more stocked and you don't have to wait for very long. And you can just like throw it over to you or you know.
I did that with the Foo Fighters, and then I ended up losing my tank top that I bought.
Yeah.
But I probably lost it for many different reasons, though.
Yeah, we were pretty schmammered when we ended up getting there.
That was fun.
But I mean, like, for example, the Blink-182 concert, like that was one of the things, like we didn't really, I was able to get the flag, but all their other shirts were sold out. They were already out.
At that point, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
If it's all sold out.
Yeah. Sometimes they mark it up so much that you're like, do I really want to spend $80 on a shirt?
Like a t-shirt.
Yeah. Like, I
So
really like you guys. And I want to support you, but I'm not going to spend that much money on the
It's
t-shirt.
bad enough some of them are like $40 for those really big artists for like a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Was a friend of mine, she went to Coachella and she wanted this sweatshirt from Coachella, and I want to say it was like $90 for just like a crew neck sweatshirt. And I'm like, what?
I still am flabbergasted that people pay $60 for sweatshirts in general. I've never
even
paid
like
that much money.
the Philip DeFranco ones, I want his emotionally exhausted crop hoodie because he released the crop once again.
Mm-hmm.
Like $85. And I'm so mad about it because like I really want to support him, and I know it's probably good quality, but I just can't do that.
Yeah, no way.
I want to
That's
so
why
bad
I don't own
because
any of
I
this
would
stuff.
wear it all the time.
That's why I never have
only
bought any of his stuff.
Yeah, I only bought the one shirt because I bought the sports shirt like 8 years ago for a gym.
Yeah.
And then it was only $25.
Yeah.
That was like before. I mean, he was growing at that time, but I feel like that was still young Philip DeFranco. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was so long ago that it just didn't cost as much.
Yeah, sorry, Philly D. You're too expensive.
Yeah.
You're
I
more
love
expensive
you.
than
I love
bands.
you. I
And
love
that's
Philip
insane.
DeFranco, but I just can't. One day, I don't know.
Yeah, nope. I could literally be a millionaire and I'll still be like, yeah, nope, not spending that much money.
I'll see if I was a
on anything
millionaire, I
dumb.
would do it. If I had the money, I would certainly do that.
Nope, I wouldn't. Insane. That's insane to me. $90
but the
for a
thing is,
sweatshirt. That's insane.
Okay. Side note, sidebar, that's related. You're gonna hate me for saying this. I would rather spend like $80 on a sweater that I'm gonna wear all the time than $2,000 on a dress that I'm gonna wear once. To me, that is actually more justified.
Yeah,
I'm
but
having a hard time buying a wedding dress, you guys.
but at the same time, though, it's that dress is not just you're wearing it once, but there's more significance behind that dress than just.
I know that. I'm just, even though I know like that's our plan, that's our budget, and that's what I am allotted to spend, I still just like, it's hard for me to make that decision.
Well, it was like when we were trying to buy the TV. You were like super hesitant. You were like, I can't.
See,
I can't do
it. So
or
that's how it went.
It wasn't even you buying it.
I know.
It was me buying it.
That's how it went when I went dress shopping. That's how that went. I mean, I will say I did like the least expensive one the most, and that's before I knew it was the least expensive. But I still didn't like it enough to buy that one, so
yeah.
There's that.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to
the topic.
Back to the topics.
Okay. So, who was the worst artist you've seen live?
Excuse me, that was gross. I don't like that I'm going to publicly say something like that.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, as a musician, I've played some terrible shows in my life.
Oh,
and I would not be upset if a fan were to say, like, it doesn't have to be once. I mean, it could have literally just be once. They're like, oh man, they were so bad. He was sick, or it's when such and such was back on drugs. Because let's be real, that's usually the main reason why they're usually terrible.
Oh, I know.
For me, it was Motley Crue. Vince Neil just does not sing. He just yells and then throws a couple words here and there because the crowd just ends up singing it anyway, or the backup singers do it.
If I remember this night correctly,
she's like, it was Rogue Stereo. Rogue Stereo had the worst shows I've ever seen.
It was 50 Cent.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
He was not very good live. He did. He like came up and opened up when I went to the Home and Home tour with Eminem and Jay-Z, and he was like one of the surprise. He was somebody that showed up. Rihanna had showed up the night before, so I didn't see her, but I know 50 Cent showed up. I want to say like Young Money showed up. I don't know. It was so long ago, but yeah, I remember 50 Cent just not being not having a good night. We'll say that.
Well, I mean, it could have just been that night. Because have you ever seen him?
It could have been.
Again?
However, though, also respect to him because he wasn't singing to a backing track, which is why I noticed he wasn't doing that great of a job.
Yeah.
Because there was no backing track to kind of guide him. So, I mean, I'll give him that because I also don't like that a lot of like hip hop shows do have that backing track no matter what. It's just my personal opinion, but I also understand like that type of music is like a lot. I feel like you're probably out of breath, like rapping all night. So
that and having to move and stuff like that. I'll
respect the artists and understand that it's definitely difficult. So, and this was night 2 of that tour. So I don't want to be like, he sucked, but I don't think he was having a good night that night. That's the only one I could think of at the moment. Like, I'm sure I've seen artists that weren't doing very well. I just can't think. Oh, Marilyn Manson. Oh, he was awful.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I've heard other people that had different opinions, but of the night that I saw him, he was headlining Mayhem Fest. And it was just not it for me.
Yeah.
Like we left, but like we didn't even watch the entire set. Like we left as Beautiful People was on, and I was like, I can't even listen to him playing like one of my favorite songs that he sings, like the biggest one that like put him on MTV. Like I can't. It was just, I mean, he was very like himself and a showman, and he had his like little butcher knife microphone. Like it was cool, but he just didn't sound very, very good. It sounded like he was getting old, and this was like back in 2009.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I remember not being thrilled with him. Killswitch Engage, though, badass show.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, there's only been a handful of, because I'd say that there's a difference between a band having a bad night and a band or artist, I should say, just not good in general. Like album wise, they are fantastic, but when they're live, they're like, oh man, like this is not what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of like I haven't seen either one of those artists another time to know if it was just the night or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure if it was just both of these times. I was not 21, so I was not drunk.
Yeah.
And just thinking, oh, this is trash. Like I was there enjoying it and remembering everything and remembering not liking it.
Yeah.
But and I try to just be like, the artist probably just having a bad day, but also it's an opinion, whatever. Have you ever saw an artist live first time you ever heard them, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna go get their album, and then you did, and then you didn't like the album? Like the opposite.
I want to say I have. I don't know. I don't know who.
Yeah.
I can't think of said band.
It happened to me once, and that was for Reggie and the Full Effect.
Interesting.
And yeah, I saw them live. I can't remember who they opened up with. Like it's probably like freaking My Chemical Romance or something. And yeah, actually I'm pretty sure it was My Chemical Romance. And yeah, I was like, oh cool, I'm gonna go listen to their music in my car. And then I did, and I was like, that's not what they sounded like live.
Yeah.
Maybe I just I don't want to say downloaded. I mean, I legally purchased their music.
I think I'm just talking too much, and that's why I keep coughing.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Can you get through it?
I'll be okay. Let's see. A band that I saw live that I did not like recorded. I don't know, because usually I kind of take live shows at face value. Only because it's so tough to really hear everything. Mm-hmm. But there we go. I hope that fixed it. But I have seen bands that I've heard on record, and then I saw live, and was like, that's totally backtracked, or that guy's definitely not playing guitar, or there's another guitar in here that
and nobody can see.
that nobody can see.
Like Freaky Friday, where Jamie Lee Curtis is in the back, and then Lindsay Lohan has to play because their bodies are switched.
Oh yeah,
that movie is so great.
But I mean, I can't really think of those bands because a lot of them are all smaller bands, and you know.
Well, it's like my example was a smaller band as well. It wasn't like a huge band, but.
Let's see here. Trying to think. Band that, you know, in the inverse of that conversation, because I can't think of any band that I saw live that were fantastic and then recorded they were terrible. Because also in the recording phase, it literally could just be they didn't have enough money, or it's their first demo. And
I will say that knowing what I know now about the recording process, I definitely understand that on a whole different level than when I was 19 before we went to college.
Yeah.
Well, I think when I saw them, I was like 15.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a whole different understanding of it. So that's definitely possible.
Yeah. And
like 1,000%.
A band that sounded amazing in the recording versus they sounded terrible live. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, I know there was one band And I was like, yep, he can't sing anymore. Oh, well, it wasn't really necessarily live, but well, no, that doesn't count because it's not the same singer. I was gonna say Journey, but it's a different singer. I can't think of.
You know why too? I'm
Can't think of
thinking
somebody.
50 Cent is because I feel like too he also did one of those TRL things, and maybe that's what I'm thinking of, and not that night where he did like a TRL summer live thing, and I
Yeah.
remember it was terrible. And I think Katy Perry did one of those too, and I was like, okay, yeah, not good, which makes me think that it might have been a different rapper the night of that Eminem show. But I'm not 100% sure because I'm pretty sure it was 50 Cent because he had glow sticks on his vest or like LED lights or something on his vest. I like
Yeah.
remember what he was wearing, but it might have been like Young Money, but I don't.
Yeah.
Was he a thing back then? I don't know. I was there to see Eminem. I'm not going to lie. So I don't really remember.
Well, I mean, that makes sense.
There was so many guest artists that like I can't remember who it was 1,000%. But I do remember I didn't enjoy 50 Cent's TRL Live Miami thing or whatever the heck it was years ago.
Yeah.
And then Katy Perry, I have heard from multiple people, not just the one time I heard her live without a backtrack, like live on television. Let me clarify that other people have like gone to her shows and said it was like not good.
Yeah, I've heard that about a bunch of other bands too.
Also going back to like Super Bowl halftime shows, like who sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
Who's the best artist you've seen live?
Well, Muse. We talked about that. They put on an amazing show. Kill Switch Engaged. I mentioned that earlier. Slipknot, actually, it's a lot of metal bands. Slipknot actually put on a really great show, and Coheed and Cambria did too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of. I'm sure there's so many. I mean, Garth Brooks was really great.
Yeah,
He
that was a really good show.
It was hard because it was like raining and distant and whatever, but I mean, he puts on a good show. Brad Paisley also is really great.
Oh, okay.
I can mix it up. I don't have to talk just about the rock artists that I've seen and enjoyed.
Yeah.
Brad Paisley was great.
Oh, that's good.
I'd expect nothing less of him, though. He's incredibly talented.
Yeah. I mean, he's a stadium country star, so
Yeah.
it's not. He has to put a show.
But I mean, regardless, like when we watched like YouTube videos and of him doing things with other artists, like he's just
Yeah.
good at noodling or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. For me, it was Velvet Revolver.
Oh yeah, I've heard you say that.
That one, I would say, as far as performance, not so much entertainment, as far as theatrics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just overall performance, Velvet Revolver was the
Okay.
best show I've ever seen.
Okay.
And that one, I was like, from here to our stairs, and like Slash was like in the middle of a solo. I had a photo on my old ass flip phone that I tried to take that photo off, and I lost that phone, but it'll forever live in my memory.
Sad.
Best entertainment band would be Muse.
They had all the things. They had the drones and all that.
Yeah.
That was a really great production show.
Best stadium presence as far as getting everybody into it was Los Bukis.
That was a really awesome show.
That was
so fun.
An insane show. Like they know how to work a crowd very well.
That was a really fun show.
But small band that was just phenomenal from the top to bottom, and every song was Wilson when they played Porter's Pub.
Oh my gosh.
That was
1,000%.
That was an amazing
1,000%.
show. An amazing show.
Oh yeah.
And I'm still to this day, like when those memories pop up, like I always try and send it or like tag Chad or send it in the chat and be like, this is still the greatest day of my life.
Yeah. No, that whole night was really awesome because that was the night that you guys opened up for Maylene.
Yeah.
And that
which
was when we
also
met
insane.
the guys of Wilson. Like that whole night was like everything.
Yeah. That was That was a very beautiful night.
And I always like to mention when we talk about that night that my high school boyfriend, he didn't want me to go to a Maylene show unless his uncle's girlfriend went because he didn't want me to get hurt. And so they all got tickets, and then I saw on the social medias, I'm pretty sure it was MySpace at the time, I saw that his uncle's girlfriend went with them. And so we broke up, and now my fiance opens up for them.
It's funny.
It's just like a whole different level.
A whole different level of, well, what's up? What you want?
I win.
Yeah, right.
No, that's competition. I just think it's funny. The irony and the full circleness of it cracks me up.
Yeah.
Because then I had the bass pick because at that show, I was literally like, everybody's sweat was gross.
Yeah.
Because we were right there, like front row. Like,
I still remember I
was
just
wild.
started listening to him, and Chad's in the middle. You know, he's got the duct tape on his forehead, and he's in the middle of singing, and I'm just like into it. You know, I'm a little not all the way there, but you know, feeling it. And then he just puts the microphone right in my face, and I'm like, I don't know your songs, but I'm just gonna yell into here real fast. But he did it like twice, and I'm like, dude, this is the coolest moment of my life. Like, they were such an awesome band.
Oh yeah. No, that was really cool meeting those guys and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was such an awesome moment. One thing though, before we end up changing gears here to our conspiracy corner, I actually like that conspiracy corner. The Bluestones are actually going to be doing a West Coast tour, so
we gotta go.
I am keeping a very, very watchful eye on once they'll come down here. Right now, they're doing a bunch of Michigan gigs. So when we go to Michigan, we're going to definitely have to make sure if they're doing stuff over there. And then a bunch of East Coast stuff and Midwest stuff. So
I will say, though, okay, while we're talking about two-piece bands, one of the other like best shows I think we've been to
was
Royal Blood.
They were a three-piece at the
three-piece.
time. But they are a two-piece. But
Yeah.
for a live stuff, they needed a third person to do more synth and like backup stuff. But as a two-piece band, they are the most big sounding band. Even if there's like a five-piece band, they are.
I loved
such
every
a
second of that.
big sounding band, and if they
The
ever
sound
come back,
mix just at that venue, like everything about that night was like sick.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely spend a little extra money to get like better.
Like better
Yeah.
seats. Well, I mean, where we were, that was just
That was all open floor.
that was
so
all
it
open
wasn't,
floor, unless we got like a table upstairs. But then that's being farther away from the show.
yeah.
For that venue, anyways.
Like if they had like early admission and for sound check and stuff like that, I would highly.
Yeah. No, that was
think
a
about it.
that was a sick show. Okay. Anyways, I just really wanted to mention that.
Yeah. Okay. So, going into our conspiracy corner real fast. All right. So everybody get your tinfoil hats and let's get those on real fast to make sure we're good. Which is funny because I was hoping Amanda and Chris would be on here so we could.
They might be. I
But-
don't have a tinfoil hat, but I have a cat hat.
Cat hat. So the.
This is how weird I am, just so everybody knows.
So we were watching this documentary that just came out. I think it was earlier this week. It was called "The Missing Flight: Malaysia MH370." And if just as a quick refresher, so the Malaysia MH370 was a flight that randomly disappeared over the Indian Ocean. Right after it took off. I think it was like an hour after, like 30 minutes to an hour after it took off.
Yeah, because it took off at around midnight because it was a red eye, and then by 1:30, like an hour and a half?
Yeah,
It
something
was
like
like
that.
between 1 and 1:30 is when they lost all contact
Yeah.
from anything, even though like aircrafts have multiple ways of contacting other. Oh, sorry, I just hit the cat in the face with the microphone. Of contacting us here on Earth, on the ground.
Yeah. So, they just said that all of a sudden it was on radar, and the next thing you know, it's gone. So, they were saying they were looking for months, I think up to a year, trying to find where it could be. They thought maybe it did a emergency landing somewhere, or it landed in the ocean, and there was a bunch of different theories of what was going on. And what this documentary kind of goes into is just it's essentially saying like, hey, is this like, is the government, both Chinese, Russian, states, like, they trying to cover up
Something.
a mistake that happened?
Yeah.
Like, did they think that something was going on and they shot this plane out of the sky and realized
like
that it
that-
was like,
and it was a mistake. Did they think it was something different?
yeah.
Because
Or
it was a red-eye overnight flight? Like,
yeah, because there was I remember when this thing happened, and then this like stories were starting to develop. I started hearing a bunch of different stuff. I heard about it being hijacked and getting taken
all the theories.
to Iran. I heard about it literally got sucked into a wormhole and it's still out there.
It's in another dimension.
And
Got sucked into the Speed Force.
yeah, it's in the Asian Pacific Bermuda Triangle or whatever. Aliens, but
Oh, the
aliens always
Bermuda
gets
Triangle
thrown
theory,
into
yeah.
there. But it essentially kind of stated like this plane like diverted completely off its course, and then they only assume that it crashed on the southern side of Australia, but in the middle of the Atlantic, like at the bottom, like near almost Antarctica. Now, the problem with trying to find anything over there is the ocean's insanely deep,
Yeah.
right? Well, let's say it did fall there and debris, let's say that most of the debris that was able to float and kind of get found, which they're thinking it was all placed there. If it did,
Because didn't they say they found it in Madagascar or something?
they found pieces in Madagascar. They found pieces in South Africa,
Everywhere.
like only on that side.
Yeah. But it's like very, yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess the conspiracy is like, is there? What do we think is going on with that? Because, mind you, 4 months later, another one was shot down by the Russian government over Ukraine,
Yeah. Yeah.
which was MH370.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my head, I think a mistake happened.
What's the number of all the the flights that always crash?
I can't remember.
I can't
I know
remember
we
either.
watched that one thing, but I can't remember
Yeah.
what it was. But
Ghost flights, something.
like, I already hate flying. Like, flying, I absolutely hate it. Like, I've always hated it, and I'm always going to hate it. This is just making me hate it even more, and makes me not want to fly at all. But
191.
yeah, 191. But I think what ended up happening is it was a mistake. Something was going on, because they were saying that there was something on the plane that was for the Chinese government that was escorted by, military that put
Yeah,
onto
that
the
they found in
plane,
the cargo or whatever.
that it was logged in the cargo bay.
Yeah.
And then they were trying, the U.S. was trying to destroy it or something like that, or trying to divert them so that whatever was in there wasn't going to China.
It's just so interesting that they would pick like a commercial airline with like random passengers to do that. But I guess that's because you want it to be undercover.
And inconspicuous.
And yeah. So,
It's easier to get that to fly through than.
but the whole
than
thing
anything
too
else.
About that also is that like how they're saying how they just lost contact. Every single form and point of contact that you have at an aircraft went out all at once.
Yeah.
So it's like, did it burst into flames or, go down like insanely fast, or somebody physically shut that off
Yeah.
all at the same time? And as he was saying that, that's what I was thinking. And I'm like, well, that's the only other logical option, is that it was shut out by somebody, or they were fired at and they did not miss.
Yeah. And that's why I'm thinking that something happened.
Yeah.
There was an accident, and to prevent, because this flight was coming from Malaysia to Beijing, to
Yeah.
prevent an all-out world war between two power countries, they just somebody's covering something up. I think.
I think so too. It's just I don't know what. It's such an interesting story, and there's too much happening, even with like the simulation thing that they found for the pilot. I don't know what the pilot knew or what part of that he played. Again, I also don't think that the simulation alone, being at his house that they found, has anything to do with it, but the simulation with all the other evidence certainly is questionable on his part.
I would agree with that. It is definitely
It's questionable.
Like,
I'm not, yeah.
But at the same
time,
time,
it just raises red flags. It's like, well, that's a little concerning now, but on its own, it's not.
Yeah, I think at the same time though, like, I feel like most people, when you have a simulator of some sort, like, you kind of just have fun. Like, you're like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna go do some random stuff. Like,
I'm gonna do tomorrow's flight in my house. Here's what I think is interesting too, because say the pilot did know something, did know about the cargo. Maybe he knew the possibility of getting shut down, and that is why he turned off all communication, to hopefully lose so people would lose track of him. Mm-hmm. And then it ended up getting shot down. And that's why they couldn't find the plane where they lost communication, because they kept flying, probably to lose whomever they thought might have been after them.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just I just came up with that just now. I don't know. I'm just wondering if that could be it too, where he shut it off purposely in order to maybe try to save the people. I don't know.
Well, the question too also becomes, I guess, they had to know where it is. You know what I mean? So if the pilot didn't know what to turn off, he'd have to have studied that and know where exactly it is.
Absolutely.
But everybody that they interviewed, whether it be his family, coworkers, and friends, they all said that he was a good person, and that ultimately it did come down that he had they had no reason to feel like he had any blame. Now,
but what I'm saying isn't even blaming him. It's him trying to get them out of wet water by shutting that off. More so shutting it off to endanger the crew. I wonder if he had shut it off as to try to unendanger the crew, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The one thing,
that's me, being devil's advocate of it wasn't the pilot, because I don't think it was, but
my thing though is that they never brought up the co-pilot.
Well, does anybody know anything about that guy?
They never talked about him. That's the one crazy thing, is they never talked about him.
Well, where's he? Well, dead, but where's his family?
It's a good question.
They didn't want to. They know something.
It's possible.
They know something.
It's possible they did. They agreed to. They agreed not to talk about it.
They just didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But
he didn't have family, and they just didn't talk about him.
Yeah. I don't know. That's hard to say, because I feel like even if they didn't want to talk about it, then it's like, okay, then you understand, if you're not going to show your side, we're still going to share our opinions on what we think might have been. It's just that you don't get to say you don't get to say his side.
You can't. You can't defend.
Yeah, you're allowing it to be one-sided by declining.
Yeah, but they did.
But what if he didn't have family, like you said? What if there really was nobody to reach out to?
Yeah, but they didn't even say his name. They didn't even say who he was.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
As far as I could remember out of the whole documentary.
Maybe we'll have to watch it again, because I kind of was wedding dress shopping.
But it's a really good
So
documentary. Like, I would highly recommend watching it. Obviously, the people that are still going through the grieving process of that whole thing. Well,
it's very sad, but
it's really insane to really think about it. It's only for the fact that they have no idea what happened.
Yeah, and it's sad. It's something that we definitely, as a true crime advocate and stuff, that's why that became so big, because it's these unsolved parts. Like these families can't get that closure that they need to move on.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of this,
It's
and
like,
why it's a big issue.
what's that one show where the plane goes missing for like 10 years because it goes through the what is it, like
It's not
itinerary or something? I can't remember what it's called. Like
I can't remember
the flight or Flight 101 or
something like that.
Something
But
like
yeah,
that.
it's that one I think is on Netflix too. But that one was really crazy.
But
It just was
when you
4 or
think
5
about
years,
it,
but yeah.
but when you think about it, it's like not to say that that's what happened with that plane though, but
What if
it's
it did?
kind of the same idea of what happened with those people that were suffering through that. It's the plane disappears and they have no idea what happened.
Yeah,
and they're going through years of, what do I do?
Yeah.
Are they alive or are they?
And then
the
second they finally move on,
and they
all of a
come
sudden
back and the
it's
plane
back,
shows up,
and it's like, what?
Exactly.
And then everybody on the plane doesn't even know any time has passed.
Exactly.
It's wild. That's a really cool. I think of what that's called. I don't know. Google this little like thing yourself.
I forgot. Yeah, it's we started watching it and then we ended up stopping, but
still, yeah, it was an interesting concept.
Yeah,
I guess.
I would say, and I'm sure that came from that gets kind of inspired from that, whether they want it to be or not. But it's a really good documentary. It's only 4 episodes, and I think it's like about an hour long each one or something like that.
Yeah,
it's not
trending
very
on
long.
Netflix. As soon as you like turn on your Netflix, it's like one of those trending now things. So I saw it last night, I think.
Yeah.
So I was like, we got to watch this weekend.
Yeah, it's very good. But honestly, like, you know, it's very sad for those families that are still trying to find their loved ones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I can only imagine what kind of empty feeling they're feeling. But hopefully, technology is able to advance far enough to we're able to.
And hopefully, if there's justice to be found, it can be found for the families.
Yeah, for the families and stuff, and so they can either able to put their loved ones to rest, or they can move forward and you know, just move on and stuff like that. Yeah, but it's just crazy. So 'cause you never know what's gonna happen tomorrow. So make sure you tell everybody, tell your family and your friends that you love them, just in case.
Yeah.
But
we're gonna go make steak.
Yeah. But thank you guys for sticking around. Gonna try and think of more conspiracy stuff. Honestly, I just need to go on Reddit and just go under one of the conspiracy subreddits and then find a good one. I just don't like to come up with ideas and not have any background on it.
Which is why you like to talk about this flight thing.
Exactly, because we got a little more detail into it. So I don't want to just bring something up and then we're like, well, what are our thoughts? Like, it's good to have some information and some background on it.
Yeah, for sure.
It may not
other
happen.
Conspiracies, if you agree with them or not, that type of thing.
Yeah. And, you know, I'll try and keep them as more, not too much of the political and, you know, governmental stuff, I guess. Yeah. Unless it's dealing with aliens.
This one was a little bit, but it's still just a mystery. Yeah. Really.
But, yeah, thank you guys for sticking around with us. And remember to catch the replay, not playback, the replay.
Playback, yeah.
Here on Facebook or on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah, we're on YouTube. Also, you can catch the audio if you just want to listen in the car on Spotify. You can find us everywhere down by the stream. And if you want to support our channel, that link is in our Spotify bio as well as our Instagram bio. We also have merch. We're going to buy some so that way we can wear it next time and y'all can see it. But yeah.
But, and just a little heads up. So next weekend we will actually be out of town.
Oh, yeah, we will be next week. Okay.
We'll be out of town next week. And normally we try and get back on time, but
I think we're going to skip a week or maybe do it Monday instead.
Yeah, we might have to push it back to Monday just only because we're going to be getting back pretty late on that day. But yeah, we're going to do some stuff. We'll probably throw up some photos and stuff from next weekend to show you guys what we're doing. But yeah,
we shall.
Hopefully the spring forward hasn't made you guys all all cranky and grumpy and stuff. It did me this morning pretty bad. And try to catch up on my sleep and didn't kind of work. But
we took a nap right before the podcast.
Yeah. So
all right, y'all. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
This was fun.
Yeah. And we'll see you guys
soon.
We'll see you guys on Monday.
Yeah.